and now I'll just exist to buy the future. And we forget to live. And in those 40 years, we end up worrying about how the children's health is going to be, and will we have enough money to make the mortgage payment? Will I be able to pay this? And what if my health breaks? And what if this happens? And we go to doctors and physicians and people, and we stress constantly about where our life is going to go, waiting for that day when we will have to live. Just out of curiosity, not getting people to give too much personal information out, how many people got to that point and went, oh yeah, now I can live, and it was all just fantastic afterwards? Yeah, that's what I thought. But we spend most of those years living in some sort of low-level, low-grade fear, waiting for life to happen. Waiting for when I believe life will be better. I have faith in the future. That's the way we generally live. And it's a problem of the church, actually, that it's promoted that belief. It's promoted a belief in faith in the future. Because we have promoted a belief in the faith of eternity. Now, I believe in eternity. I believe that life is eternal. I believe that after we die, we live on, and we live on with Christ and with God, and we live forever. But having said that, I don't think I should wait till forever to start living. I shouldn't wait until I'm dead to have a life. I shouldn't wait till I'm dead to know that Christ is here now. Heaven isn't going to happen to me someday in the future. Heaven already is upon me. Heaven is now. And I know people have said, well, this is heaven, that I really want to see hell, because... But heaven and hell are a choice. Heaven and hell truly are a choice in the attitude of the way we live today. One of my favorite stories about heaven and hell and where we live our life today is the person who wanted the definitive answer to what they absolutely look like. So God decided to grant the favor and said, but first, be prepared, for I'm going to show you hell first. The people were taken into a grand banquet room, absolutely spectacular in its beauty, with leaded crystal chandeliers and the most beautiful stained glass windows and the beautiful quality of light coming through the windows. This grand carved banquet table laden with every food, the best of everything that was ever possible to have granted around this table. The finest of music was playing. And seated around the table were all the people, and they were absolutely ugly in their nature. They were stupendously miserable. They were screaming and wailing and gnashing teeth, and what it was, and the reason for their anger was that where their hands were, they had 5-foot-long spoons attached to them. And they would reach for the food, and they couldn't get it to their mouth. There was no way they could get it to their mouth. It was just, and they were spilling it on themselves and hitting themselves with the spoons, and everybody was nasty. And so then the person says, wow, they're just miserable. And God said, yes, this is hell. Let me show you heaven. He took them into another room. And the person looked around and went, oh, this is identical. It was exactly the same room. Exactly the same table. The same quality of beauty and light and life and coming through the windows, and the structures was just as ornate and wonderfully carved and as beautiful to behold. The same table, the same foods, and the people sitting around it, and they were all happy and talking and enjoying one another's company, and they had the same 5-foot-long spoons hooked to their hands, but they were reaching into the food and offering it to someone else. And each one was feeding each other, and everyone's needs were taken care of. It's a choice, heaven and hell. It's a choice to see the opportunity and see the situation you're in and see the way you can build life, love, and community It is a choice. And you can let the fear and the anger and the anguish overcome you. And that's why plague only has to do a little bit of work, because we do the rest. Or we can have a little bit of faith. And faith is really amazing, by the way. Faith is like pregnancy. Have you ever met a person who's just a little bit pregnant? Like, you either are or you aren't, right? Doesn't matter if you're like a month pregnant or 9 months pregnant, you're pregnant. Guys, I know you don't get this. But that's the way it is, right? Actually, the guys do get it, because if you ever live with somebody who's pregnant, you do know what we're talking about. It either is or it isn't. Not a little bit. Faith is the same way. It isn't about how much you have. If you have any, you have it. If you have any faith at all, you have it. It's how do you work it? It's how do you use it? How do you exercise it? How does it inform your life? It isn't when, I have more faith, I'll be able to do that. You work with the faith you have. And if you have enough faith to live this much, then you'll live this much. And it's like the parable of the talents. Jesus said this about faith. If you bury it and don't use it, if you hide it or you throw it away, you lose it. But if you use it, then the reward for using it is it grows. It grows. It's like nurturing a beautiful plant. And it just grows and grows and grows. In fact, Jesus used the analogy of a plant because he said, if you have the faith of a mustard seed, the size of a mustard seed. Now, we all use mustard, it comes in a yellow jar, right? And so, and for those of you that have never seen a mustard seed, it isn't the size of a yellow jar. A mustard seed is so tiny. It is so tiny. You can put them on the head of a pin. In proportion to the size of the plant, it grows. It's acutely small. Because a mustard plant is a large bush. Quite a large bush. Probably stands about this tall from where I'm standing to the floor, which, for those who are hearing this and not seeing it, we're talking about something in the neighborhood of 8 feet or so. So a microscopic size seed grows a bush 8 feet tall. It just grows. And Jesus said, you don't have to have the bush to accomplish anything with faith. You don't have to have the full-grown, full-sized mustard plant. You just need the seed. If you have the tiniest of faith, you can accomplish great things. It tells us that when we have that sense of that little seed of mustard-sized faith in my life, I'm aware of one fact, and one primary fact, that compels and drives my life in such a way that plague may touch my life, but fear cannot destroy it. And the fact is simply, I am not alone.